My favorite thing is map out what I call world domination plans.
Given that you've gone from different industries and so forth, and you just seem like a really motivated person to me. And I know that there's people listening here, and I'm going to tell you guys, Carolyn just exudes confidence. And if you're going to watch her on the YouTube channel, like she just you have like a calming, confident, aura or vibe, I guess. How do you stay motivated and confident in all the different roles that you've gone through? So just to kind of position this for people listening that don't know you as well, obviously you work on different offers, you work on, even within business, you can do copy, you can do strategy, you can do marketing, you're just kind of bouncing around. So first, the question is, how do you stay confident, or in this building in this theme of confidence? Like, how do you stay confident in doing all these different things and trying these different things? And secondly, how do you stay motivated in trying all these different things and maybe having not the results that you're looking for in certain things?
Right. Well, I don't view being confident as my goal. Okay. Actually, I am so busy because I'm a curious person. So when people say, how did you get involved in all these things? I didn't go on a job board necessarily and apply for these things. I found an opportunity and I opened up communication. So for example, people that know me know that I've been promoting Vera.social for a long time. We are in beta testing and I keep being told we will be out any day. It's a social media app that started as a dating app. But what we do is we tell people, take these tests, take a personality test, IQ, EQ, which is your emotional quotient, your ethical values, your love type. And then what our computers do is they gather all the data and they figure out who might be compatible. When that started, someone had posted something on a job board, one of the founders, and I told him, based on what I see, you're posting for the wrong position. You don't need a CMO because you have all these millions of people that are interested. You need somebody to help you monetize what you've got already. And I got involved as a co-founder. Nice. I have another partner where we help people get free Google grants, where for people that don't know, Google gives away $10,000 a month in free ads if you have the right setup, which involves doing a nonprofit organization. What people don't know is you can pair a nonprofit organization with your existing business and do it successfully so you can use Google money to help you advertise. I saw him in a presentation. I started sending him clients, but then when I was reading through his copy and watching his videos, I said, you know what, I can write a better script for you. And I can rearrange your sales process to motivate more people to send you leads. So I sort of talked myself into a partnership there. I have another friend, we were talking about going through an experience that she went through, and she's the poster child for doing everything wrong. So based on my background and my financial and legal knowledge and her experience, we're cooking up an offer that hopefully will be launching probably in about the second quarter of 2023. So again, I wasn't.
Can you say, or are you able to tell us?
At this point, I don't want to say. Okay. But I will definitely let you know when we've got everything in place.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like you stay motivated by just constantly changing. And that's scary though, for some people. Some people don't like the unknown, but I guess, would you say that you're a type of person that, like, how do you challenge yourself to keep changing like this? Like, are you a person that loves change, or is there some kind of methodology or something that you do to kind of prep yourself to try something else?
See, I don't view myself as a change person. I am curious, so I will pursue something that catches my interest.
Okay.
So one of these things is my biggest goal in life, I guess, would be to be a professional puzzle solver. Okay. If people come to me and say, here's my offer, how do I make it better? I probably have some ideas. It might be, restructure the way you're financing it, or restructure the way you're offering it, or bundle these things together. My most fun activity, it's really geeky, is when people say, this is the thing, these are the parameters, working within these parameters, can you help me find a solution? And coming from a background where I help business owners, a lot of it is small business survival skills in terms of taking very little resources and trying to get a big result.
Yeah.
So one thing I love to do, my favorite thing, is map out what I call world domination plans for different people in different places.
Awesome.
And
So,
hopefully I'll be doing that professionally soon. I've got a website that's being hatched.
well,
at
I
this
mean,
moment.
you can, and again, audience that's listening, like Carolyn, I've used these services for free of yours. I was like, I feel like I can just ask you something and you'll give me some kind of feedback. And even if it's not exactly what I need, I'll take 40% of it and be like, yeah, that's great. So that's, obviously it comes from your background, the finance and all the different roles. So it's kind of cool that you know so much and you could help. So I think in terms of a resource, if you are a small business, I think Carolyn, like you can get people started, and then they can warm up and they can come back and revise the plan and so forth. But building on that, in terms of like making a plan and making choices and making so forth, how, I'm going to call you a professional decision maker. How does one become or have the skill set needed to make decisions? Because I mean, I struggle with this sometimes in certain aspects of my life. Like I'm very decision driven. I like to make a decision, even if it means I'm making the wrong one, because I just don't like stagnation. I don't like being in the same place. Go, just pick one. But how do you, like, what's your methodology or your thought process in making an important business decision?
Well, I have two tools that I've taught people from almost day one. Like when you're teaching people to make financial decisions, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So the first thing you try to do is you try to strip out the emotional things that will skew your decision. So most of us have grown up with a thing about take out a piece of paper, write down the decision, and then on the right side, write down the benefits of making this decision, and on the left side, write down the drawbacks.
Yeah.
That is okay, but the better thing to do, again, it's improving. You take a pencil, a red one if possible, and you draw a line through everything that will not be a factor in 3 months. By doing that, you pare down the really important things in your decision. So when you look at what's left, it makes it a lot easier. Like I always use moving as an example. Should I move? You write down all the things that are drawbacks. Most of them, even if they're silly, like, oh, I need to find a new dentist. Most of them are temporary.
Yeah.
So then you also look at that list of things you've lined out, and now you know what you need to tackle in order to get to that place that you've outlined for yourself in the decision. So that's one of my hacks I teach everyone is draw out the benefits and drawbacks, but then take out the temporary things. And it clearly defines what your decision should be.
Let me ask you a quick follow-up. I know you have a second point, but I just to clarify this, do you put a weight on different things? Because some things may be more important than others, right? So how do you kind of balance the importance of certain things?
Well, what happens is you draw a line through everything that doesn't have weight.
Okay.
So what's left is the important things.
Oh, yeah.
But then the things that have lines through it is sort of like your friction. The friction points you'll have to go through to get to those important things.
Okay. So you were going to say that there's another part to this. So,
right. So another thing that I love to say is no decision is permanent except for death or amputation. So there's always a cost of undoing your decision. Mm-hmm. So one thing you shouldn't do is be worried about making a decision. If you make no decision, that is the decision to stay where you are. So with that framework, then what I tell people to do is think of what your decision might be and do a little bit of imagination and write it on paper. What is your best case scenario? So for example, with investments, if I sell this investment now when it's at a high, but it might go higher, my best case scenario, I'd book a profit. I would be happy with that. I would use it to buy a new car or whatever I had earmarked the money for. And then what I need to do is take the other side of that coin. What is the worst thing that could happen? Dang, today could be the high and tomorrow I could lose 50% of my money. What is the impact of that? I can't buy the car. I was going to use that money to pay for X. My self-worth might take a hit because I thought it was an investment whiz and now I've lost half my money. So those types of things, when you got sort of the picture of the best and the worst, then the hard part is to assign a probability. And this is where the number geeky part comes in, where you say, okay, great. What is the probability of the best case scenario happening? What is the probability of the worst case? Usually you'll end up with something sort of in between. And then the final screen is you have to say, if one of these best or worst case things happens, is it unacceptable? So for instance, let's take my investment example. Yeah. If I decide not to sell and hold on because I think the market will go up more, and then the market tumbles, like let's say I was in cryptocurrency before it went down by 60%. Yeah. Is that livable? And even if I'd said, oh, there's only a 20% chance the worst case will happen, if that's not livable, I have to not make the decision that would put me in an unlivable position. Mm. And with money, it's easy. You just hedge. It's like, well, instead of doing everything one way, I'll hedge. I'll sell half my holdings, so then I'm only half right or half wrong. But again, it's trying to imagine things. And then if you get really good at it, going back to my sort of intangible thing about sitting quietly, a lot of times I know the answer and I don't know how to explain it. It's intuition. But for example, going back before I got married, way before, I was dating someone and everything seemed to be great. He was fun. We got along well. He happened to be fabulously wealthy, which sort of made me a little bit uncomfortable. And one day I was sitting in a hotel that he happened to own. And I thought to myself, is this really going to be a long-term relationship? And I know for myself, I would have wanted that because it had everything I thought I wanted. But I sat in that hotel and I thought, no, this is not going to be part of my holdings in the future. And I just instantly knew it. And it actually was part of when I started to pay more attention to my hunches. So again, it's hard to do, but if you sit very quietly, we all have intuition. Yeah. And sometimes that's the best thing to do. What does your intuition tell you?
Well, there's the expression. The expression is listen to your gut, right? There's, this is what we hear. We listen to your gut, and your gut is kind of your intuition, right? It's what you feel from like, I'm like pointing at my stomach and kind of coming up because it's like, I feel like you feel it. I make decisions. Sometimes when I make a decision, I feel it in my stomach when it's like tight and uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, I don't know. This doesn't feel like the right move. But then sometimes I've made decisions and I feel light.
Exactly.
I feel liberated. I feel better about whatever I've done, even if it's hard. You're like, at least it's done. And that, if you have that reaction, for me, sometimes I try to ignore my intuition, not ignore. I try to use some logic or whatever to make a decision. I'm better at it now. I'm better at intuition, but sometimes I'll switch my decision quite quickly because of the reaction that I have of doing that, because I'm like, no, I feel like, no, this doesn't feel right. Hope you found today's session valuable. If you have any questions for me or just want to connect, please feel free to visit my website, mariasparagas.com. That's mariasparagas.com. I'd love to hear what you're working on, so drop me a line on any hot button issues your business is experiencing. And remember, don't worry about failure. You only have to be right once.